最初に言っておくが、余計な真似はするなよ。おいちょっと気をつけてくれよ。
見て見て、これ面白い。グレ
こちら尾藤あさる、もうじきサーバールームに着くぞ。
あなたたちに新しいお仕事がある。
ー。なになに。
そんな、こいつを引き連れてネガボットでの仕事だなんて。
おいおい、人のせいか。
あなたに選択の余地はない。
しかしボス、元凶は全部こいつなんです。オーバークロック。
あー、これ何。
最初に言っておくが、余計な真似は
エージェントシカゴ
Hello. I'm really not feeling well today. I've had so much anxiety, 2 nightmares. I just haven't been able to do anything all day. I really don't feel well. I'm tired of this year. I don't know how long I can stream. I just needed to do something. I've been in bed crying all day. Just want to get hit by a bus at this point. I'm tired of my mental illness. I just want a new brain. I want a new brain. I want to not be mentally ill. I want this to actually make money instead of just failing over and over again. I want to not be alone the rest of my life. I'm losing everything this year. Everyone's dying or leaving me behind. I worked so hard at this, it just doesn't do well. I work so hard. I never take a break or anything, and it's just not good enough. Because I'm not lucky. I put in so much effort, and it's just not enough. I've been doing this for 15 years, and people make those stupid clickbait videos and make thousands. I struggle to get through the month. Tired of this year, it's just worn me down so much. This stupid virus is still going. They need to cure it already. Hate living in America. I worked so hard on this month. I've worked incredibly hard. It just feels pointless. What's the point trying anymore? I'm never going to get what I deserve. I'm already on medication. It doesn't help. It does help, but just been so stressed and anxious and lonely and ever since I lost my aunt to the virus, I haven't felt well. I mask it a lot in my videos and stuff, and I've been really depressed. Today I couldn't get out of bed. It causes me pain too. I've been in pain like all day. I have to walk everywhere. I don't have a car, so I'm a fucking failure. Barely functional mess. It's not fun to watch someone who's clinically depressed and anxious and going through hell, but I had to do something today. It's just try to go to sleep now. I'm just gonna have another night like last night. Just have tons of nightmares. I'm just in pain all night. I just can't function. I have all this work to do for the channel still, and I'm just like not capable of doing it right now. It's too much work for no payoff. Days like today, I just want to quit. Just delete it. Let all the stupid clickbait win. I take a break from the channel and I'm like this all the time. I have to keep the channel running or I just get more chronic pain because I'm not doing anything. Because my mind's so messed up. I can't relax like a normal person. I have to keep working. I get days like today where I'm just in so much pain and I can't move. Can't get out of bed because I'm too depressed. My mind is just saying horrible things about me.
我ながら完璧な段取り。さて
屋上エリア。
It's just, I hate having to ask for donations all the time, but I make like nothing doing this. No matter how hard I work, I'm never gonna make what I deserve. I work my ass off every day with no breaks, and sometimes it just gets really demoralizing. See some stupid Among Us video or Fortnite thing, just nothing special about it, it's just instantly popular. I just don't like the stuff that's popular. I don't care for it. It's not interesting to me. It's just no matter what I do, I can't get people interested in stuff that I like. It's always been a problem. Even before I started running this channel, I was always bullied a lot. Still get bullied to this day, just helping the cats. And people have no compassion for anybody but themselves. Think I'm crazy for taking care of a cat, actually having compassion and empathy for someone besides myself. Heaven forbid. Fuck off. Still put up with that all the time. People staring and laughing. Like, how would you like to be out here alone and homeless and starving? Well, the ones I feed are not starving, but they don't have great lives. I'm sure if it happened to those people, they would want help. They wouldn't want to be stuck out there alone. People just anger me. Stuck in this stupid virus pandemic forever because people are too self-important to wear a mask. Think about someone besides themselves for a change. Stop being so fucking selfish. Doesn't matter if you're healthy, you're protecting other people. Actually have empathy for others, instead of just thinking about yourself all the damn time. It would be such a better place if people could stop thinking about themselves all the time. Like they're the only people on the planet. We should share this planet with everybody. Stop being a piece of shit. Wear the damn mask. I'm not asking you to do like a mortal priestess sacrifice. They're asking you to put a piece of fabric over your face when you're out in public. It's really not that big of a deal. You know, admittedly, it does make it hard for me to breathe because I walk very fast. But it's a necessary evil to protect our country. And we're doing such a fucking horrible job at managing it. That's the least you can do. I get that the burden has been placed on us, the regular people, because the people in charge are dipshits and didn't do anything when they knew about it, but at least you can stop the spread. My aunt wouldn't have had to die if people wouldn't be so damn selfish. It just really makes me angry. I've lost all the progress I had with my mental health because of the stupid virus. I've had multiple neighbors give me dirty looks and stuff, say things behind their back, under their breath, because I take care of the cats. This game is very therapeutic to play, though. I'm glad I'm playing this right now. It's like my comfort food game. I like just playing this. It's a relaxing game to play. Especially when I've had such a rough day. Just turn this on and just tear shit up. It always makes me feel better. At least for a while. I don't think Neo is in the lineup tonight. It's pretty obvious why. Especially since I finished my build last night. I don't feel like playing that game today. I'm already at really high stress levels. I need to try to manage it the best I can. I'm sorry for streaming like this, but I just needed to talk to somebody and do something today. Just when I get like this, I can't function. Like, just getting out of bed or like getting something to eat is hard. It's just gotten worse since all this has started. Beautiful. Oops. No, he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize for making this game, as far as I'm concerned. This is the most fun I've had playing a video game in a long time. Even though I have like close to 80 hours in this game, I still have fun with it. It's always very relaxing to play. It's just responsive and fluid. You can be really creative. I always keep this game installed. Some stuff I play on the channel I have to uninstall. I always have this game installed, especially when I have shitty days like today. This game really helps me relax. Just focus on something. That's why one of the reasons why I like action games. For me, I can't relax like a normal person. I have to always be working on something. Whether it's the channel or running errands for my neighbor or something, I always have to be doing something, otherwise my mind just torments me. So when I play stuff like this, it requires heavy focus. It actually helps me relax. Now, for the average person, they play like a chill game or something, like a card game or something, but for me, I actually need to play something like this. The game doesn't require a lot of focus, it doesn't really help me. I'm kind of a unique case. Like, I play intense games like this because it takes my mind off all the other stuff. Because of the focus that it requires to play. I would say I just like action games in general too, but just chill games don't work for me. This is a chill game for me. Because my mind is just focused on the combat.
我ながら完璧な段取り。次から。オフィス。
Yes! Love it. Good fight.
マナーがなってない。こ
Yeah, but DMC 5 doesn't require any of that skill. I've always felt like the DMC series has a very disjointed skill ceiling. It's like, yes, you can put like 80,000 hours into those games and still learn things, but the actual game content does not require barely any of it. Maybe like 5% of it. That's kind of why I don't play DMC that much. I mean, I obviously love those games, but it just feels like you're just flexing. Nothing in the game requires any of that stuff. The DMC games don't do a good job of actually giving you content where you need to do all that crazy stuff. I mean, sure, it's fun. It's nice to have the expression, the player expression and the freedom, but the games don't require it whatsoever. Like this game, playing it on extreme is legit hard. There's a lot going on you have to manage. The only thing I didn't like about my extreme mode playthrough is the amount of guard bar the enemies have, but supposedly that's been fixed this patch. I haven't tested it myself. I'm just playing hard mode right now because I want to relax. Swillow has pointed this out a lot. Devil May Cry games just... There's no reason to learn how to do any of that stuff, really. I feel like all the infinite HP combo videos kind of give an unrealistic expectation of what you need to be good at those games. You can do crazy stuff in this game, too. I do know some pretty good combos, but for the most part, I just focus on what gets the kill. There's nothing in the game that will survive those, like, 3-minute long combos. Is there really a point to doing them? Obviously, besides they're fun, but... you don't need to learn how to do that. You can learn a couple combos and just learn the situational awareness to use the tools that you're given, or whatever situation you're being put in. But you don't need to learn, like... you need to spend, like, 80 hours in training mode. They really do not do a good job of making any of that stuff really mean anything. Unless you're using mods, like Gods Must Die mode or something. That's different. But just like the base experience of the game, you don't need to do any of that stuff. In this game, you actually do have to dodge around. You have to have a lot of situational awareness because most of the enemies are ranged. The way the balance in this game works is everything is ranged for the most part. Maybe like 80% of the enemies are ranged, but when you get next to them, they're a sitting duck, so you have to learn how to kill them quickly and defend yourself. You have to learn how to use the options they give you, like Death Wheel and stuff, to deflect things with a Judgment Cut. I think it's not like as crazy as DMC is, but I think it's a better overall experience. I always feel a thrill playing this. DMC 5's boss fights, they're decent. But there's some real bad stinkers in there too, like the one that V has to fight. That fight is awful. It's crazy how much better Garyon is to fight when you're not playing as V. Like, that fight actually works when you're not playing as V. When you're playing as him, It just encompasses everything that's wrong with that character. How he just doesn't function. You're fighting a guy on a horse. He's constantly moving around. Your main method of attacking is the cat, Shadow. But by the time he actually follows your order, because he's like a real cat, he doesn't give a shit. Can't really tell cats to do anything, they do it when they want. They got that part accurate about Shadow, but from a gameplay standpoint, by the time you get him to go over there and hit Garyon, he's already halfway across the screen. It's incredibly frustrating. I don't know how V got put in the game in his current state. I can't imagine what he was like before the game came out, like while they were still working on it. It's not a bad concept at all, it's just terribly executed. They really could have done with, like, some kind of focus test from people who, like, actually know how to play. These are a really cool idea, but it's one of those things that sounds good on paper, but then you actually play it, and he just doesn't function. Then when you fight Nidhogg with Nero or Dante, it's actually a fun fight. Because those characters actually have the tools to deal with them. V doesn't. I'm glad DMC5 exists, but it's not the super amazing game everyone says it is. I feel like the issues start to come into play when you start getting in the harder difficulties. Like, V is awful to play on the harder difficulties. He's already tortured to play to begin with, but then on the harder difficulties you see how the poor design of his entire kit just doesn't work when the game is actually starting to demand more from you. And I thought it was just me, you know, I don't like playing those kinds of characters in action games. I always feel like they're gimmicky and boring, but I was willing to give him a chance. But he really is as bad as everyone thought. I didn't like Astral Chain either. I actually uninstalled that game. I thought that was a bad game too. Aesthetically, it was a very pleasing game, but actually playing it, I hated it. Frame rate was terrible. All the investigation stuff felt pointless because it was all like a Scooby-Doo kind of thing. It's like, oh no, that kid got taken into the Bloodgate or whatever it was called. Well, we need to go save him, which is just doing a bunch of boring puzzles and gimmicky combat in little red cube areas over and over and over. I think the producer of that game was actually one of the younger people that works at Platinum, and he was talking about how the game is different because he feels action games haven't changed in so many years, and it's like, well, maybe there's a reason for that. I feel like Streets of Rage 4 did more for changing the formula with all the little small polished things it had to make the experience better. It makes a lot of really old beat-em-ups suck to play. Like having the pick up button and stuff is huge. And Astral Chain is still very much an action game. It's just bogged down with dumb gimmicks. Combat isn't really satisfying either. A lot of enemy designs in that game, they're just there to piss you off. Like the guys that burrow underground or they're above you, and they just make everything invincible. Those are the worst kinds of enemies. They're not fun to interact with. I got like towards the end of that game and I just deleted it. Also, the platforming was like designed by a masochist. Platforming is the worst I've ever experienced in like over 30 years of playing video games. I mean that too. I'm not exaggerating. I've played plenty of games with jank platforming, but at least they have the decency to have a jump button. And you take damage when you mess up the platforming too. What the hell were they thinking? Platforming in that game is like a criminal sin. Especially at the end where they just keep piling it on, like they think it's actually fun. I feel like if they made another one on more powerful hardware, it could be really fun. It's just the things they tried to change didn't really need to be changed. Like not having the game just focused on fighting. The investigation stuff is not interesting because the writing is not good. You're basically just doing a bunch of chores, and the outcome is always the same pretty much the entire game, from what I played anyway. It always ends up you have to go into the astral plane and do a bunch of dumb puzzles. Too much talking for a terrible story. Yeah,
我
exactly.
ながら完璧な段取りだ。
I don't mind anime. I like crazy stuff in action games, but when you shove it down my throat with just pointless padding, like all the investigation stuff, it serves no purpose, really. The characters are not interesting. They're all very one-dimensional. It was painfully obvious who the bad guy was in like the first 20 minutes of playing the game. Like, if you're going to force me to interact with the story, then actually write a good story. If you don't have someone who can actually provide a good story to make all the padding actually worth it, there are games that do manage to do that, then don't have a story at all. Like, just let me fight. And even the fighting in that game I didn't like. I don't even think the bad guy in that even had any, like, realistic motivations. He's just, like, a typical dumb action movie villain who just wants to become a god, and then becoming a god to them is being a big, like, guts boss. It's like, what are you gonna do as a guts boss? How are you going to fit into a restaurant to, like, order something? How do you use the bathroom? It always bothers me in games when they have, like, those generic villains that want to become gods, and then they don't have the foresight to, like, actually stay as a humanoid. They turn into some big, ugly monster. It's cool from a gameplay standpoint, but it doesn't make much sense when you think about it. So a lot of times they can't even talk or anything. It's like, what are you going to rule over? You can't talk. You're no longer a human. You can't indulge in the things you would want to. Because you're a big, like, guts dude or whatever. That's why I didn't play that game on the channel. I really wanted to get guides out for it and stuff, but every time I played that game, I just got so frustrated and annoyed. I felt like I didn't have anything to offer. I gave it a good dozen hours or so, and then I just uninstalled it. I wasn't enjoying myself at all. The game tries to do too many things, and it doesn't really particularly succeed at any of them. It's like, okay, you want to have a focus on a plot, but you don't have a writer that can actually make a good plot. You want to have things besides the fighting, but they all feel like boring, busy work. You want the combat to be different, but the things that are different about it are awful. Like the camera, the terrible frame rate, the platforming. Especially the platforming. Pretty sure whoever designed the platforming in that game is like a clinical sociopath. They start really, like, just shoving it down your throat at the end of the game. And it's like, it's not fun, you know, you can't actually jump in the game. It's not enjoyable in the slightest. And it's a problem in other action games too, you know, the DMC reboot has the same problem. The platforming in that is pointless because it's like 80% automatic. There's very little challenge or thought required to do it. It's not what I would consider good platforming. But at least you're over with it quickly and it's painless. So if you like the combat in that game, you can get back to it pretty quickly. But in Astral Chain, they force you to engage with it so much, and it's not designed well. I've never played a game that wants you to platform, but then you can't jump. So you have to aim the little Legion guy, and then hope that by the time the animation plays, the platform is still there, and if not, you take like 10% damage. I would prefer automated over just torture, like it is in Astral Chain. I remember when Ocarina of Time came out and people hated that there was no jump button. Well, that game actually made it work. You know, it wasn't completely automated. You know, the character could still only jump a certain distance. And they didn't really have room on the controller for a jump button anyway. It's weird that Ocarina of Time has better platforming, even though you can't even directly control it, than Astral Chain, which came out like 21 years later. It's kind of pathetic, really. I think they had a lot of ambition with that game, but just like everything was against it. It's just like the controls were awkward, the frame rate was bad. You had a lot of really annoying enemies, and a lot of things just they really only exist to just take you away from the combat. So even if you did like the combat, you were not allowed to engage with it as much as you'd like because of all the other stupid shit in the way. Which is a problem in a lot of games for sure, but I don't know, it felt really bad there. So now you know why I never played that game on the channel. Believe me, I tried, but I couldn't do it. That game was just making me furious. If you think I'm bad when I'm playing Neo, like, I was way worse playing Astral Chain, just like yelling and getting frustrated, and I was not having fun in the slightest. I just decided it was healthier to just give up on it and move on. It's like I realized life is short. I don't need to be playing shit I can't stand. There's plenty of other things I can be playing. Doesn't seem like there was much interest in that game anyway. There was a lot of hype for it when it came out, but then it tapered off really quickly. I think a lot of people really turned their back on that game. I always felt like it was needlessly hyped up. It looked good in the trailers, but then actually playing it is when you encounter all the issues. Well, Platinum tries to appease all the dumb reviewers who complain about beat-em-ups and stuff not having enough variety, and it's like the variety is interacting with the enemies and the good combat and player expression. You know, if the game is designed well, it can be endlessly fun to play if it doesn't overstay its welcome. That's where the variety is, not doing a bunch of stupid puzzles and investigations and shitty minigames that aren't fun. But the reviewers don't understand that kind of thing because they don't actually like those kind of games. It's a shitty situation, really. They're damned if they do, damned if they don't. Like, I like Assault Spy because it doesn't beat you over the head with that shit, and they realize that the guy that made it realized that the fun of the game is in the combat and nothing else, and it does combat really well.
9, 8, fight!
The guy is so self-aware. He's more self-aware than the Platinum developers because that game does have forced stealth. But you only have to ever do it once. You only have to do it once. Every other time you play the game, you never have to engage with it. It's like, I'm cool with that. You know, if you want to put a little bit of variety in your game, that's fine, but just don't make it to the point where every time you get to that point, you want to stop playing. The Bayonetta games definitely have that problem. Like the bike and the missile minigame, they go on for way too long. And every time you play that game, no matter how much you like it, you're always going to dread getting that part. And it's like the games are designed with replay value in mind, so I don't understand why they keep doing that. You should, at the very least, should be able to skip them past the first run. It's pretty revolutionary that Assault Spy lets you do that. Force it on the player once and then never again, unless you want to. Yeah, but it's like the games are directly designed to be replayable, and then you put shit like that in there, which just goes against that. Bayonetta 2 had much better pacing, but that game had so many problems with the combat. The combat was not good. I wouldn't say it was not good, it was just so flawed. Artificial and dumb. The harder difficulties on that game are a joke. All the humanoid bosses just walk through everything. You spend most of your time just trying to get witch times and get like 2 hits in. It's not satisfying. I played through that game up to hard mode and then I stopped. And then like all the enemies are actively trying to make it so that you can't combo them. They are very bad, yes. It's mostly the humanoid ones. The big set-piece ones are fine. It's the humanoid ones are really bad. Which is like the opposite of every other character action game, because generally it's like the big set piece bosses are awful, and the meat of the boss fights is always in the humanoid. But in that game, it's like the polar opposite. The big set piece bosses are like inoffensive at worst, and not all of them are particularly engaging, but they're over quickly. And the humanoid bosses just kind of encompass everything that's wrong with the game. Yeah, I got nothing. Hell yeah. I love getting nothing. Oh, I got a 5-star ticket. Let's open that. The only way I had any fun with that game was using the Bracelet of Time, because when you use that, you actually can combo things. That was like the only way I had any fun playing that game. They also got it really late too. I didn't have a Wii U. I got it when it came out on Switch. Oh. Do I have Cash App? I do not. If you're implying that you want to donate, you can use that link. Yeah, I have Phantom Breaker. That game's okay. The spiritual sequel to it is not, but supposedly there's an update coming to it soon that will supposedly fix it. I was really disappointed with that game. They really dropped the ball with that one.
Round 1. Ready, go!遅い. KO! Perfect! You win! Round 2. Ready, go! You win! Round 3. Ready, go! KO! You win!
think Streets of Rage 4 did more for beat 'em ups than Astral Chain did for character action games. A lot of the things that make beat 'em ups miserable, the old ones miserable to play, like having the attack button and the pickup button be mapped to the same button, that game got rid of. I hate that about Alien vs Predator. I think it's the worst in that game. The second half is when you stop fighting the aliens as much, and it's mostly the military. That's when that game starts to fall apart, because there's like 50 guns on the ground at all times, and you can never pick anything up. It's like that one change, just adding a pickup button, actually made a huge difference. I mean, that game didn't try to revolutionize anything, but it did in its own way.
Round 1. Ready, go! KO! Perfect! You win! Round 2. Ready, go! KO! Perfect! You win! Round 3. Ready, go!
Vanessa sweeping. It's like the Elite Four in Pokemon, when you have like legendaries and shit. And you just sweep with one. That's what this starts to feel like after a while. There we go, gold. Alright, that's all I wanted. There's no point in doing the rest. Okay, good. Oh, I didn't do Memory Dungeon today. Alright, what's next?
Chambara origin. Let's go. My father's 2 swords. I'll use them well.
Check out the shop. There's some new items for sale.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. Father taught me this. Stand back. I think I can.
Your father sounded pretty troubled. I wonder if what he said about your sister is true. Do you really think you can stop her?
To me. I'll stop her. Just you watch.
Are you sure? She'll try to kill you, you know. I don't want you to die.
Father taught me this.
Yeah, I paid for it. It was like $4.
Stand back. Leave it to me.
And I got the game from a review key, so
Leave it to me.
the game itself cost me nothing. Yeah, I just paid for it.
Die already. Damn undead! I'll mow you down! Leave it to me! Let me at him! Slice to pieces! We're all going down! Let me at him! Die already! Die already! Slice to pieces! Out of my way! Got your back!
I'll stop Saki without killing her. Not just because of the promise I made to Father. I can't kill her. She's my little sister. It's bad enough she lost her mother.
How does that change anything? You're acting weird, Aya. Didn't you say you just do whatever you want? Saying you can't kill her. It's not like you to be soft like that.
Die already! Stand back!
I notice this is not running above 60 FPS anymore, which may have been causing some of the problems. It does feel a little bit choppy, but I think it was for the better.
I wonder if this is a failed Ouroboros
The game just kind
experiment.
of worked for me.
It's not attacking, so
Seems like they patched it a
Leave
couple
it alone?
times. I haven't been paying attention.
I'll go
So
see
many
if there's
projects
another
I've
way
been working
around.
on.
Leave it to me.
I've got one more review key video I need to get out, and then I've got a couple days of free time, and then Kamen Rider comes out.
Aya, where do you think your father went?
Who knows? I plan on looking for him later. He's always so reckless. I need to keep him safe.
Could you have stopped him earlier, before he left?
Not possible. Once he makes up his mind, nothing can change it.
Sounds like you know him well.
Well, he is my father after all. What's your father
Well, I guess I can't answer that question.
You'll talk about anything but your family. Is that it, Ray?
Don't just assume everyone has a father.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. Just keep your guard up. You don't know what else is out there.
Shut up, filthy mutt. Leave it to me. Shut up.
There are a
Oh,
lot
thank
more.
you for the $10 donation. Also got a $5 donation as well. Thank you both.
I'm dead down here in the basement.
I don't want to say the real names.
I guess they
but
like to
thank
hang
you.
out underground.
Shut up. Leave it to me.
I already paid for everything this month, so probably just gonna go to a treat because I'm working my ass off this month. Done so much this month, way more than usual.
Let me at him.
I might buy the music DLC for this. I'm kind of tired of this theme.
Stand back. It's over now. Shut up. Leave it to me already. Die already. Stand back. Shut up.
When you finally find Saki, it'll be a battle to the death between sisters of the baneful bloodline, won't
Kind of
it?
like a final boss.
That sounds exciting. I can't wait.
No, it's not
I'm
what she
not
said.
looking for any battle to the death. Ray, didn't you say you have sisters too? Could you kill your own flesh and blood?
Just never mind about me.
I didn't mean to.
Look, my family's complicated too.
Dead end.
You're dead. Got your back.
Aya or Saki? Which one will survive?
Ray, knock it off with the jokes. I just want to stop Saki.
But won't she just try to kill you? Do you really think there's a way for me to survive? I'm telling you, there's not. That's the deal with sisters. They're
Was it you that
compared
sent
to
the
each other
$10
from birth.
donation?
Competition
Oh,
is their
thank you.
destiny.
Ray,
I'm
appreciate
just
it.
saying, you should keep your guard up.
Not a chance. Leave it to me. Die already. Leave it to me. Die already. Die already. Stand back. You're dead. Shut up. Got your back. My way. My way. It's over now. Leave it to me. Ready. Leave it to me. Move over. Stand back. Stand back. Let me at him. Leave it to me. Leave it to me. Let me at him. Stand back.
I'm the worst boss in the game.
Great. Whining little brat. Aya, don't aim at its body. Destroy the cords instead. The umbilical cords coming out of its belly bring nutrients up from the ground. Without those cords, the brat won't be able to feed. That should kill it.
Ray, do you have a personal grudge against this creature?
No, nothing like that. I just can't stand babies. Now destroy that nasty thing.
Two more to go. Now the last one. We're all going down. Let me at him.
Oh, red guys.
You're all going down. How's this?
Sounds like he's gotta throw up. He's hungover or something. A little bit too much to drink.
Let me at him. him.
Saki, I'm here to stop you. Mother and father never wanted us to fight to the death.
Shut up! You have no right to call her mother. This fight will only end when one of us dies. And I'll be the one to kill you. It's the only way.
Don't be stupid! We aren't just half-sisters.
What?
We're true sisters.
Ava told me everything. You're the product of that no-good bastard's womanizing. You're the reason he abandoned me and Mom. We were nothing but dead weight to the both of you.
That's ridiculous. This Ava you're talking about is just manipulating you. She's exploiting your vulnerability. Don't let her get away with it any longer.
What are you talking about? You're making all of that up. I can trust Ava a hell of a lot more than I can trust you two. Did you hear? Sisters born of the Baneful bloodline fought to the death for generations. It's tradition. Mortal Kombat is our destiny.
Yeah?
I'm going to kill you. Why? Why can't I beat you? Damn it. Damn it all to shut up.
Best beat 'em up. There are beat 'em ups good for different reasons.
Leave it to me.
Some have really good combat, terrible pacing. Some have great pacing, but not great combat. Sengoku 3 is one of my favorites, but the pacing in that game is awful, and the final boss is like a crime against humanity.
I'm here to stop you. Mother and father never wanted us to fight to the death.
Shut up! You have no right to call her
Father
mother.
taught me this.
I would play that game more if it had a better
When one
final
of us
boss.
dies. And
Final
I'll
boss
be
is
the
really
one to
awful.
kill you. It's the only way.
Don't be stupid! We aren't just half-sisters. We're true sisters.
Ava told me everything. You're the product of that no-good bastard's womanizing. I'm dead. You're the reason he abandoned me and Mom. We were nothing but dead weight to the both of you.
That's ridiculous. Ava you're talking about is just manipulating you. She's exploiting your vulnerability. Don't let her get away with it any longer.
What are you talking about? You're making all of that up. I can trust Ava a hell of a lot more than I can trust you two. Did you hear? Sisters
Come on,
born
skip.
of the baneful bloodline
Oh, I just
have
let
fought
pause
to the
not
death
work.
for generations.
Shut up.
Let's go.
I hate when the Mook spawn and you can't. It takes the lock on off the boss, and it puts it on the Mook. I really hate that about this game.
Let me at him.
This fight would be better if it didn't have Mooks. It's too hard to get disoriented and you push R1 to lock on,
Leave it to me.
and then it locks onto a generic Mook.
Leave it to
I'm
me.
also playing really bad right now. I do this fight
Saki,
really
I'm
easily.
here to stop you. Mother and father never wanted us to fight to the death.
Shut up! You have no right to call her mother. This fight will only end when one of us dies. And I'll be the one to kill
We're all
you.
going down.
It's the only way.
Don't be stupid. We aren't just half-sisters.
What?
We're true sisters.
Ava
We're all
is
going
down.
down.
You're the product of that no-good bastard's womanizing. You're the reason he abandoned me and Mom.
Father taught me
We
this.
were nothing but dead weight to the both of you.
That's ridiculous. This Ava you're talking about is just manipulating you. She's exploiting your vulnerability. Don't let her get away with it any longer.
What are you talking about? You're making... I'm going to kill you! Did you hear? No chance! Sisters born of the baneful bloodline have fought to the death for generations! It's tradition! Mortal Kombat is our destiny! I'll mow you down!
What? How did you get out of that?
I don't care!
I call bullshit.
Why?
Why can't I beat you?
God got out of that somehow.
Hell!
Health kept
Damn
coming back.
you! I
That's
am
bullshit,
not wrong!
man. I had her stuck in hit stun. She got out somehow.
Let's go!
Part of the fight is dumb because of the particle effect. She can't see what she's doing. That's the same problem Neo 2 has. That game has a ridiculous amount of particle effects, and when you have like
Let me at him!
too many of them going off, and you just die because of it. They actually put out a feedback form from the community. One of the things in there was reducing the particle effects. I definitely agree. There's definitely been times I've produced so many particles I can't see what the enemy is doing anymore. It's not good for a game where you can die in like 3 hits.
This fight
You
will
can imagine why
only
that's
end
not
when one
good.
of us dies. And I'll be the one to kill you. It's the only way. Don't be stupid. We aren't just half sisters. What? We're true sisters. Ava told me everything. You're the product of that no-good bastard's womanizing. You're the reason he abandoned me and Mom. Leave it to me. We were nothing but dead weight to the both of you. That's ridiculous. This Ava you're talking about is just manipulating you. She's exploiting your vulnerability. Don't let her get away with it any longer. I'm going to kill you. Aya, did you hear? Sisters born of the bloodline.
Stop walking onto the damn zombies! She spawns on the other side and you can't see her. This game is pissing me off tonight. On this difficulty, this boss fight is dumb. Because when she goes into the PMS mode, she just puts all the crap on the screen and you can't do much about it.
Leave it to me. Saki, I'm here to stop you. Mother and Father never wanted us to fight to the death. Shut up! You have no right to call her mother. This fight will only end when one of us dies. And I'll be the one to kill you. It's the only way. Don't be stupid. We aren't just half sisters. What? We're true sisters.
Why the fuck can't you skip when you die? Come on,
Let
pause.
me at him.
Fucking pause button doesn't work. You have to sit through that animation. And get annoyed how they don't just let you go to the boss fight. You gotta do this
Leave it
pointless
to me.
running. I don't know why I can't do this right now. I've done this like 5 times. For whatever reason, this difficulty, I just can't do it. It's pointless running. Just retry right there.
Saki, I'm here to stop you. Mother and Father never wanted us to fight to the death. Shut up! You have no right to call her mother. This fight will only end when one of us dies. And I'll be the one to kill you. It's the only way. I'm undead. Don't be stupid! We aren't just half sisters. What? We're true sisters. Ava told me everything. You're the damn undead, no-good bastard's womanizing. You're the reason he abandoned me and Mom. We were nothing but dead weight, both of you. That's ridiculous. This Ava you're talking about is just manipulating you. She's exploiting your vulnerability. Don't let her get away with it to pieces. I'm going to kill you. Aya, did you hear? Sisters born of the baneful bloodline have fought to the death for generations. It's tradition. That is our destiny.
There we go. Clean fight. Just took a couple tries. That was a good fight. Everything went well there. Got the chain dodge, that's what mattered. GG. Alright, well I will finish this tomorrow. Still like another hour and a half to go. I am very tired. I had 2 nightmares last night, and then when I have those kinds of nightmares, it messes with me all day. I need to take it easy today. I should be finishing that tomorrow, though. See if I feel like doing like one more game. I think I've got one more game left in me. I think I'm just gonna go to bed early. Actually, since I got those donations, let's see if there's anything coming out in the first part of November. Uh, something, something in the later half of November. But I don't think there's going to be anything. New consoles are coming out, so no, Sisters Royale is coming to PC. It's a pretty decent game. Just don't like the characters, but I'm not gonna play another game tonight, by the way. I think I'm just gonna go to bed. Try to get some rest. My gameplay is not that great right now anyway, because I've been not feeling good today. I think I'm just try to just get some rest and come back. Uh. 5D chess with multiverse time travel. Sounds like it would fry your brain. That's an awesome title, though. There's nothing. Hyrule Warriors I'll be playing, so hopefully that will occupy for a while. Closers is coming back, Sakuna is coming out next month. I think I'll be fine. Yeah, I'm really exhausted, folks. Sorry for the short stream today. Unfortunately, my mental illness affects me physically. Makes me very tired. It gives me... It manifests as physical pain and stuff. It can get really tiresome. It's a combination of overworking myself this month and with all these projects, and then just my general depression has gotten a lot worse. It's gotten harder to manage with the pandemic and everything. So I think I'm going to call it there tonight. I'll try to get on earlier. Obviously today I didn't do a good job. I just kind of sat in bed, which was just making my symptoms worse. I need to actually get up and do something. They're hoping by the year's end. Yeah, I think that game is dead. I think they're misguided to think that some archer that no one's heard of is going to bring people back. I really don't know why they have her and then her father, Hawkeye. Why are they the first two characters? That's terrible roster picks and distribution. Why are you going to have two archers? The game doesn't even seem like it's designed for an archer. It'd be like if you had like a bow moveset in Neo, and it had some arbitrary limitation, like it doesn't induce hit stun in a game where you can get killed in like 3 hits. I don't know how an archer is going to work or even be any fun. Like, I don't think people really like playing those kinds of characters in character action games. They generally feel very gimped and limited, and they barely work. It's a shame. I like that game despite all its problems, but man, they're making some stupid decisions. I feel like at this point they should just put Black Panther out. I know that they were... I think he was originally supposed to be the second character, but then Chadwick Boseman passed away. And I think like enough time has passed away at this point. It's obvious that they're not cashing in. And they kind of need a character that people actually want in there. I don't think anybody cares about Kate Bishop. I didn't even know who that was until that game came out, and I grew up with Marvel stuff. I don't watch any of the movies, but like the stuff from like the 80s and 90s, you know, I know all those characters. Who the hell is Kate Bishop? Like, what makes them think Kate Bishop is going to bring people back? That's incredibly delusional. That's like Dynasty Warriors 9 not having Zhu Zhu in it. You know, the big guy from Wei with the club. It's like not having him in the game and then putting him in as DLC and thinking that it's going to bring people back. It's like, that's not a popular character. I mean, sure, he has his fans. Some people like him, and that's totally fine, but it is delusional to think that a character like that would bring people back, because honestly it won't. You need to have the heavy hitters at the start. And they've said multiple times that they have access to like the entire Marvel roster of characters, including the X-Men, apparently. It's like, don't you think like Wolverine or like Nightcrawler or like Psylocke or something? Like, those are big name characters that people would actually come back for. It doesn't matter if they're not Avengers. It's kind of a dumb classification anyway, because I think even Wolverine's been an Avenger at some point. Like, I don't really think that should limit who's added to the game. They should add who will actually bring people back and add an interesting dynamic to the game, not some archer that the average person has never heard of. And then add another archer after that, which is not going to help. Marvel Infinite failed. I like Marvel Infinite's gameplay, but the marketing was awful. The marketing was an embarrassment. How are you going to tell me you're going to support this game for years to come, and then do one season pass and like two minor balance patches? Like, they nerfed the Reality Stone slightly, and then they dropped support. I bought that game because I liked the gameplay, and they kept promising that there was going to be more expansions to it, and then that never came. I would have been totally fine with the roster being so heavily weighted towards the movies and stuff, and the cross-promotion, if they were going to add the characters that actually, you know, matter to the legacy of the Versus series, meaning the X-Men. It would have been fine if they were not in the base roster. I wouldn't have minded paying for them. But they did one season pass, which was admittedly quite good. Black Panther was ass, though. He was really bad to play. He was like, put in like 100 times the effort of anybody else and get like 10% of the results. But they had a lot of really cool characters in there. Black Widow was really cool and unique. The Monster Hunter was really cool. Sigma. Sigma's never been playable in any fighting game. That was pretty awesome too. I actually think they had some good picks in the season pass. It's just that nothing else came after it, so it didn't matter. The season pass had a lot of really cool, well-designed characters, but no, they didn't do anything else after that, and it still didn't fix the problem of like legacy characters just randomly not being there. The Capcom roster, the problem with the Capcom roster was all the heavy asset reuse from Marvel 3. The game really only had a couple new characters. Most of it was recycled. To be fair, they did give a lot of the old characters new stuff, but like, Capcom doesn't have any legal bullshit on their side of the roster. I think if the Capcom side of the roster had been more interesting, it wouldn't have stung so much that the X-Men were gone. But the Capcom roster had like characters nobody wanted back, like Spencer and Arthur. Yeah, nobody really liked those characters. And people liked Spencer because he was good, but it was the Western reboot Spencer, which no one liked. I don't really think he deserved to come back. Neither did Arthur. Arthur as a character has done absolutely nothing in like the past 15 years. The last thing he was in was Ultimate Ghouls and Ghosts, and then that short-lived Korean MMO, which doesn't have anything to do with Capcom besides the licensing. That's what bothered me the most. They could have had really cool characters on the Capcom side. They could have had, like, Basara characters. They could have had Jean in there. A bunch of other cool stuff. They could have had a lot of really cool, like, off-the-wall additions. Kind of like what Battle for the Grid does. But they went with whatever was the easiest to recycle, which didn't work. I don't think anybody ever played Arthur in that game. Nemesis is another one. No one really wanted him back. And I grew up with those games too. First one I played was like Children of the Atom or Marvel Superheroes, like 26 years ago. So to have all those characters just be gone really hurt, but I really like the gameplay. I like the gameplay of Marvel Infinite. I just feel that Battle for the Grid has replaced it. Battle for the Grid has a better roster, and it has more balanced gameplay. Battle for the Grid basically is Marvel Infinite 2 without the Marvel license. And the roster in that game is really awesome because it's not just 10 versions of Tommy, which would make them more money, but they actually did their research and they looked at the legacy of the show. Even though they had to take some liberties with some characters because they didn't fight much in the Sentai or the Power Ranger season, but they still have a lot of really cool characters. You know, they're not characters the average person who stopped in like the first 3 seasons would recognize, but they deserve to be there. As a longtime Tokusatsu fan, I like how Battle for the Grid approached the roster better than Marvel Infinite did. Instead of just having stuff that's cross-promotion, they actually have characters that aren't as well known, but they're a good fit for a fighting game. And it does a better job of representing what the franchise has been, instead of just Mighty Morphin. I feel like people haven't actually watched Mighty Morphin in a long time. The series has not aged well. And there's so much cool stuff that comes after it. I think Battle for the Grid would have sucked if it was just like a dozen versions of Tommy. They actually added a lot of really cool characters. You know, Geki Violet is in there. Female Shinken Red. Those are not like household names, but they fit for the purpose of a fighting game. And they deserve to be there too. Problem with the Power Rangers brands is that they're too nostalgia driven. Like the Twitter almost only post about the current season and then Mighty Morphin, and that's it. It's like everything else doesn't exist. It's like, man, there's so many good Power Rangers seasons that came after that that don't get any recognition outside of Battle for the Grid in the comics. I need to read the comics. I haven't actually read the comics. I hear they're quite good. The comics are like they're more adult oriented, and they're not bound by whatever the Super Sentai is doing, so they have a lot more liberties. That's always been a problem too, especially when they were trying to make everything a sequel. It's the Super Sentai. That's why Tommy started jumping around randomly and shit in Mighty Morphin, because the White Ranger in the Sentai was a kid. He was like 9 years old or something, so they just kind of made Tommy jump around like that so they could use the footage. Add someone from Kaku Ranger? Yeah, I think they need to do that, but I would prefer a Ninja Storm rep over Kaku Ranger. They're not terribly interesting from what I've seen, moveset wise. The Ninja Storm Hurricaneger characters have a lot more that they could work with. There's a couple fighting styles separate in there that they could really work with. They could add just like one of them. When does Scorpina come out? I think Scorpina comes out... Let me check their Twitter. When does Scorpina come out? So I'll be playing that too. Oh, December 8th is when she comes out. Alright, well, I think I'm done for tonight. I'm gonna get some rest. I need to, it's imperative that I get good sleep tonight. Because when I have these nightmares and anxiety attack combos, it's very hard for me to function. So I'm gonna go to bed. At least attempt to. I might come back a little bit later. I should probably stay up a little bit longer, because otherwise I'm gonna wake up at like 4 in the morning. But I'm gonna make an attempt to get some sleep. If I come back, I might finish my Assault Spy run, or Onii-Chanbara. Neither of those will take too long. Alright folks, thanks for understanding. Streaming actually did help me a lot today. Not because of the $15 donations, but just like actually getting up and doing something. But sometimes when I get depressed, it's hard for me to do that. That's just common depression stuff. But I'm glad I streamed today. Thank you all. Either before or after I get something to eat, I'll be on. Probably finish those 2 games. See you later.